Hello and welcome to a Z.E.D video on firearms. I thought since the fire and safety video was up, the first incarnation of it anyway, that we'd start talking about firearms, and I thought we'd start with pistols and then work our way up from there. And with pistols, I pretty much break it down in three categories. Single action revolvers, double action revolvers, and then semi-automatic pistols. There are a couple other like breech loading and stuff, but I'm not going to get into that. Those are the three we're going to talk about, and we're going to start with single action revolvers. Reason being, I don't want to say it's the most basic, but we're gonna like start from there and work our way up, kind of, I guess, in the way of which is from, I don't want to say least desirable to most desirable, but from in terms of zombie survival, what may be the least efficient to most efficient. Now, I love single action revolvers, but I have to be honest with you, not what you want to rely on in a zombie outbreak. Not because they're unreliable weapons, but because of the limitations they have. Well, so this is one of a pair of single action revolvers. These are Colt single action armies by Colt. Other companies like Cimarron and some others make their own Colt clone, and they pretty much function the same way. It's single action, meaning all the trigger does is drop the hammer like that. So that's all the trigger does. And some differences between a single action revolver and a double action revolver is the cylinder does not come out. It stays where it is, unless of course you take it apart. So what you do is it has a door, and then with Colt Cimarrons and most other Colt cones, you half cock it. Now, the only Colt clone pretty much that doesn't do that is the Ruger Vaquero. Not really a Colt clone, but whatever. And when I say Colt clone, I mean somebody who's pretty much just remaking this gun, kind of like how they do that with the 1911s. But with the Colt and many others, you half cock it, you open up the door, and then you can spin the cylinder. And this is chambered in 45 long Colt, showing that it's empty. 45 long Colt is pretty much a long 45. And then you can use this here, which you can push down, and this ejects the spent cartridges, or the bullet if you don't want to fire it and want to make it safe, one at a time. And then you load it one at a time. And then you shut that, and then what you do is you cock it all the way back, and then pull the trigger and ease it forward. Now, the Ruger Vaquero does not need to be half-cocked. You can just open up the trapdoor and it spins. One thing about single-action revolvers, if you can kind of see that little nub right there sticking out in the middle of the cylinder. See how it goes away and comes back? That's the firing pin itself. It's on the hammer, as you can see. So in safety, we only load them 5. You load, skip a spot, and then load up the rest. And that way the hammer is resting down on an empty chamber. The reason for that is if you were to hit the hammer abruptly, or if it were to fall, it could go off, and will go off. So that's for safety. However, if you're at the range, or if you're in a zombie event and you have to load up all 6, load, and then just get ready to shoot, and then you'll be fine. The reason I have 2 is, aside from wanting to get into cowboy action shooting, but the way you would increase your, well, it's primarily to get into cowboy action shooting, but the way you would increase your rounds with a single action is to have a backup single action. So if you want to shoot 10 or 12 rounds, if you're going to load all 6, it's better to have 2 so you can shoot and then holster it and pull out the other one and shoot. Which is why it's not the most reliable zombie defense weapon out there. It takes time to reload. Even if you practice and get good with it, this takes time. You have to go through each one, then you gotta load each one, then you gotta, get ready. So it takes time. Now, let it be said here and now, if this is all you have standing between you and being equipped with nothing except maybe a bat or something to deal with zombies coming your way, I wouldn't leave this on the side of the street somewhere. I would make sure that you have rounds for it, but I would make sure to have it with me because it gives you an extra advantage against the zombie. Now, another thing with the Colt and most of its Colt clones, especially if you get the traditional, is that its sight picture is a little different. You got a fin and a groove, and you have to kind of, if you don't focus, you have to kind of line it up to shoot. A little bit different. It'll take some getting used to when you compare it to a traditional iron sight, and because of that, it does tend to shoot a little high. They come in different barrel lengths. This is, I think, the shortest because that you can get standard, 4 3/4 inch. There's a 7 and I think 5.5 or something like that. So the longer the barrel, a little more accurate you'll be at longer ranges. This can shoot a decent range, but remember, we're talking about shooting the head of a zombie, so you don't want it to be going at the maximum ranges possible because there's a lot of compensation you have to do, and you may hit them but not in the head, and pretty much it's a wasted shot. My particular ones are blued with case hardening. They also come in nickel and stuff like that. So they're a good gun. They can be fanned. I don't know if the Ruger New Vaquero can. I don't think it can. But fanning is when you can hold down the trigger and it just cycles through. So you can get your 5 or 6 shots off pretty quickly if necessary. But remember, we're talking about accuracy here, hitting them in the head. What else is there to say about the single action revolver in terms of zombie survival? Its advantages that it has is being a revolver. It won't jam, so it will cycle. With semi-automatics, they can jam when they're trying to eject the spent casing. That doesn't happen here. It's comfortable in the hand. It is a little heavy, being a solid metal gun. Revolvers tend to be a little bit heavier than pistols, depending on which pistol you're talking about. Because polymer semi-automatic pistols are popular now, pretty much any revolver is going to be heavier. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And also, as a semi-automatic pistol, you have to cock it each time you want to shoot it, and you have to fully cock it to shoot it, which you can do one-handed, but you can also do it two-handed like I was showing you. And other than that, they're lots of fun to shoot. Don't get me wrong, if you just want to have fun shooting at the range, they are fun to shoot. Minimal cleaning required with revolvers. I shouldn't say minimal. There's plenty of cleaning. Not plenty. It's a standard amount of cleaning, but it's quick and easy. You can just put a swab down. If you want to, you can take the cylinder out and clean it. Not many different parts to remove or keep track of. Really, it's just cylinder and the pin that's holding it in that I have to keep track of. I'm not going to take it apart because I don't have a table to put my parts on right here, but you would half cock it to make it able to come out, and you would open the door so the cylinder can come out. You would on the pretty much the only version you can get now, this slides. It's like a spring pin, and then you pull this out, the cylinder comes out. You keep it half cocked, put the cylinder back in with the door open, or else it won't fit. Put the pin back in, shut the door, and you're ready to go. One other thing you could do with single action revolvers is carry extra cylinders on you. Buy extra cylinders with rounds in them, carry them. You can do that. So what you do is once you're done shooting, you half cock it, open the door, take the pin out, or the rod I should say, take the cylinder out, put a new cylinder in, reassemble it, and you're ready to go. A little bit quicker than unloading and reloading the spent shells with new bullets, but still not the quickest way to go. So in the realm of zombie survival and defense against a zombie with a handgun, the single action revolver is not the best way to go, but it does give you the advantage of being able to reach out and touch them at range. And it comes in different calibers. Like I said, this one's 45 long Colt, the big old hole there. And in terms of just being a joy to shoot, they are fun. But in terms of zombie survival, if you're going out to pick up a gun, I would skip the revolvers and go right to a semi-automatic. But I'm still going to talk about the double-action revolver next, because revolvers are out there, and revolvers do have their advantages. Strictly speaking, not strictly speaking, but primarily the inability to jam. They have their other disadvantages, I guess, especially single action, but you shouldn't discount a revolver. But in a perfect world, I would say go with a semi-automatic pistol. But if you're in that state of anarchy with the zombie outbreak pretty much in full swing, any weapon is better than no weapon. And that's why I talked about the single action revolver here, because if you come across one and you saw this video, now you have some basic understanding of how to operate it. And you'd be surprised how many people don't really know how to operate a single action revolver. I mean, they understand the concept of pull the trigger, shoot it, and, you know, pulling the hammer back, but as far as loading, unloading, stuff like that, not everybody really knows, because it's not that popular of a weapon anymore. People are looking at their semi-automatic polymer guns and not so much single-action revolvers. Alright, so that lecture is pretty much done. And the next one, in terms of this type of video talking about a firearm, will be on the double-action revolver. So that would be the next firearm I talk about. So until the next video, stay safe and take care.